Hello and welcome to Equity and Freedom,
That's such a hard name, by the way.
episode number 1. I'm so glad you like the name.
I really like
Yeah,
the name. Hold on, let me just. Okay, never mind. Don't worry about it. I was gonna blur my background, but it's chill, bro. I
it
was,
makes very little difference, bro, in
I
my
was,
opinion.
I was speaking to my girl about that name, and she was like,
Oh,
"That's
yeah.
so fire." But even and my dad as well,
Nice.
I was like, "That's so fire." And yeah,
Bro, I think philosophically it's perfect. Don't you agree?
definitely, bro. Definitely.
I remember I was listening to Naval Ravikant's podcast about his tweet storm, How to Get Rich. Have you seen this? I think I sent it to
You
you.
sent it to me a couple times, I think, like different ones.
Yeah, and he said the most fundamental piece of advice, if you want to get rich, or he says the more accurate term is to gain wealth. He distinguishes being rich and being wealthy. But he said if you want wealth, he just used rich because it's better from a copywriting perspective. Like people are more likely to
Right.
click on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said if you want wealth, you need equity in a business. Not even in a business, you need equity in an asset that produces income passively.
That's exactly what is in like the main concept of the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, where it's like talks
100%.
about expenditures column and yeah.
And realistically, what do you want wealth for? I think you want it for freedom, especially an online business. I think that gives you the ultimate freedom because
Yeah,
you have financial freedom, location freedom, and time freedom.
yeah, you're not bound to a specific time as well to go into work.
Business in general gives you the financial freedom and the time freedom in terms of you technically don't have to do anything at any one time,
Mm,
but it's the internet business that gives you the location freedom. And that is like the
yeah.
true freedom, really. Like, what else? What more could you want?
Bro, I think there's a point in time in the future where I'd love to just be like in Japan, working on a laptop from a cafe, making money. Is that not just fire?
Bro, I've had the exact same dreams for sure.
Mm.
For some reason, Asia always comes to mind, like Thailand or something, just somewhere tropical.
I think it's because like you can optimize like heat and lifestyle with money, and it's just
It's the classic digital nomad lifestyle,
Mm.
isn't it? It's like you hop from country to country. Because, bro, life is so short, you
I was
know?
thinking about this today.
Like, life is so ridiculously short. Why wouldn't you want to experience every country, every climate, every culture? Why wouldn't you want that? Surely that's what everyone wants. I feel like deep down that is what everyone wants. I can't speak for it. I can only speak for myself, but that's definitely what I want for my life, for sure.
No, I definitely agree with that. I think I was thinking about the life's too short thing the other day, and I was like, right, in the like later, like after this PhD, and I
Yeah.
was like analyzing like this is a really important 3 years because what the hell am I doing after this PhD? What actually am I going to be doing? I'm gonna have to essentially go. There's no more education thing to go up on and abuse the system and like get money from. I put it. It's like there's got to be something in place where I do something with my life. And then I was thinking about this life's too short thing, and I was like, the reason I'm doing this, and later on, or maybe another time, but I'll speak to you about. I'm working with this guy at the uni on another business,
Mm.
and bro, just a tangent into that. We were talking about it. So we're sat in a PhD business office. I'm surrounded by PhD level computer scientists, economists, business people, professors like just down the corridor in business. They may not own businesses, but they're professors or whatever. I'm sat in the dragon's den of smart people, and then these people might not have business acumen, but if I can just take their knowledge and then integrate it into something, that's a huge competitive advantage because the standard bro is just going
Mm.
to be like on chat GPT, whereas I've got like actual brains around me. So yeah, me and him are going to try and build something through the PhD. And I need to introduce you. He's extremely business minded. He's older than both of us. I'd say he's 34 or something, 35. Like he's pretty professional and he's like serious.
Bro, please do. I was going to say, in terms of just your network, how elite is that network, bro? If you ever need a problem solving, you have such a good network of people who you can reach out to if and when you need it. So,
For real.
and in terms of potential human resources for whatever business venture you may want to go into, again, that's a really good pool to have. Anyway, bro, I was wanting to discuss with you. I had a coaching call with you.
Yes,
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
hear this.
Before we go into all of this, is it worth giving our background to the viewer slash listener? What do you think?
I think that
Just
could
for
be,
just for people that don't know us,
yeah, good idea. Good idea.
what do you think? I was thinking like we should probably make an intro at some point where we just
Mm,
give the 80/20. Who are we? What's this podcast all about?
yeah.
I'll start with myself. So, my name's Ed. I am 25 years old. I am a doctor working in the UK in my second year post graduation. I have a limited business experience. I previously started a YouTube channel called ELC. Those are my initials, Edward Lawrence Clark. And it was, I would say, quite successful. I started it in my final year of medical school. It gained 4 million views, 14K subscribers, 8K gross revenue in under a year. And now I'm pursuing finance, but that's what I was about to go into with Felix, because I've recently joined a mentorship program for entrepreneurs, and they have advised me in a certain direction business wise to pursue. So that is me so far. That's the TLDR. Felix, do you want to introduce yourself to anyone who doesn't know you?
I am Felix. I am a recent first year PhD student started in January. I'd say definitely less business experience than you. More, my experience is more in trading. I've been doing trading for maybe 3 to 4 years. Only really seen actual success in the last year. Probably net withdrawals around 10,000 in the last year. And then I have capital sitting in an account currently, which I'm trying to scale into the next 3 years of this PhD. My PhD is in data sustainability within the business school. So I'm essentially looking at the data lifecycle and looking at retentions, why people are holding on to data and how long. And specifically right now, I'm working actually in the finance department. And yeah, any sort of business opportunities, I'm going to be there. I'm open minded to it. And yeah, now we're on this podcast. Yeah, I'm excited for this.
Cool. You did have a brief streaming experiment, I would
Oh,
say, didn't you?
that is true. That is true. Are you referring to Athos Trades?
Athos Trades,
So
yeah.
crazy arc. Yeah, I talked to my dad about this, and he was like, he's happy I went away from that because he was like, get your beautiful face and build like an actual real brand around yourself, which I think is smart now because before Athos was like USP, it could be anyone sort of thing. And now the rebrand into professionalism, PhD, which is important because like now I can leverage my LinkedIn, my actual socials. Athos was like a whole new entity, whereas going off Felix, I already have some experience with networks. I just think it's more efficient, and I would prefer to be myself as well. Although being hidden mask was cool, going forward business wise, it probably wouldn't have been super beneficial.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, Felix had a anonymous brand that he was using for his trading and streaming, and he wore a yellow balaclava.
Oh
I
my god,
I honestly loved it. I thought it was amazing.
it was comical. It was
I
good.
Bro, I thought it was so good. It looked sick, and
It did look sick.
I remember so distinctly, I made Felix's logo and I made a reel for him on Instagram and everything. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, but I think it was more of experimenting in uni, just trying things out for the first time. And obviously, I think streaming as well is quite intimidating. And so being anonymous does take the pressure off to a degree.
Mm, mm,
So I think at that stage, it was both of us just dipping our toes into kind of the online business world.
yeah,
Whereas now I think we're actually thinking seriously about, okay, what like long-term sustainable business can we actually build that leverages our skills?
correct.
Yeah. And that's really why we decided to start this podcast. I think we're both like very early on in our journeys, and documenting the journey, I think would be so good to look back on. And hopefully people can use these podcasts to learn from, to help themselves if they're also pursuing something similar. So
Yeah, it's tapping into like-minded people.
100, go
Yeah,
on.
exactly that. This guy I need to introduce you to at uni, his whole thing is like-minded people that like he'll just say that's like his thing, and it's so true.
100%.
Because it's actually rare that you'll find people, but you're like literally the extreme of all in. Like you've got actual tangible all in like credibility. Whereas some people are like, oh, I'm all in, but I'm not actually doing anything. So that's why you joining that thing is this is the all in heaven. Like everyone in here is all in. So that's
Mm.
gonna be so optimal, bro. I'd love to hear about that actually.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into it. What Felix is talking about is this mentorship program that I joined, which we'll get into in a second. But I just want to, on that point, what you were saying about finding like-minded people, I completely agree. It's so rare to find people who don't want to do the traditional. Tim Ferriss calls it the deferred life plan. The Rich Dad Poor Dad, or Robert Kiyosaki, he
Yeah.
calls them rats in the rat race. But it's quite a pejorative phrase, so I probably won't use it. But yeah, just people who aren't doing the traditional school, uni, job, marriage, kids, retirement. Like it's yeah, it's really rare. And I think it's funny. I think one of the reasons this is a whole separate conversation is British culture really has a massive tall poppy syndrome issue. Are you aware of the tall poppy syndrome? I think we've talked about this, Felix.
But it's similar to like
So
how people are toxic.
in farming, the tallest poppies get cut. Like the
Mm.
poppies that rise above the rest, they get cut
Yeah, yeah,
first.
yeah.
And yeah, I think like Brits in general, they look down upon people who are wanting to make money and be entrepreneurial. So it's really discouraged from openly saying, I'm looking to go into business, make money. But anyway, that's a whole separate conversation. And I think we don't have ages for this call, by the way, Felix.
Oh yeah, what's your time? What's your
So
time
it's
like?
11 now. I said I'm meeting my brother at 1, so I probably have to leave at 12:30. So should we say 12 as
12's
just
good.
the deadline for this? Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
I like that.
Cool, cool. I'm sure you've got like plenty of stuff to be doing as well. So I want to be
Yeah,
respectful of your time.
thank you.
Yeah, bro, I really wanted to chat to you about this mentorship program. For those who don't know, it's called the Lifestyle Business Academy, or LBA, and it's run by Ali Abdal, the YouTuber. It's a play on the business degree in the US called an MBA. So anyway, it's just a play on acronyms basically. And anyway, yeah, going into this mentorship program, it cost 10K USD to apply. So about 8K GBP. And you had to fill in an application form with a bunch of questions and everything. I can't lie, I didn't think I'd get accepted, but I did. And I'm 2 weeks into it now. So it's very early days. It's a 6-month program. And the guarantee, and they say guaranteed, which it's unbelievable, but we'll see, is they will teach you to make a 100K per year revenue lifestyle business in under a year, which it's a massive
That's
guarantee.
mad.
I'll be honest, like I'm not expecting that. Even if this just gets me to 2 or 3K per month, I'd be happy with that because that means it would cover my living expenses and I could go into entrepreneurship full time. So that's my ambition, but obviously those are the sorts of numbers I am looking to do long term, and we'll see where it goes. Anyway, going into the LBA, I was planning on doing a finance business um, for UK doctors where I do pension scenario modeling. So your pension is just a form of income during retirement. And a lot of doctors, there's a few different options you can pick in terms of what pension you have. You can have a private pension. The two usual ones are either a private pension or an NHS pension. And I was going to model if you were in each, what benefits would you get? And certain pensions have certain advantages and disadvantages. So I was going to basically advise them on the optimal pension strategy for their retirement. I say advise, but I'm steering well away from financial advice because it's
Mm,
regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. But anyway, Felix,
yeah.
by the way, chip in at any point. I feel like I've been talking a lot.
No, I'm really interested in this. The only thing I was gonna say, which
Yeah,
is
go on.
interesting about that, is do people try and be cheeky and would pay money? Because this is a very high barrier, not that high, but like it's quite high to enter
Yeah.
this.
Mm.
Would people enter and then reshare the information, essentially reselling the information? Would people, if you were to share this? obviously whatever, then join this in a sense to gain information about what's going on behind closed doors.
Do you know, I was thinking about this before we started this podcast, like how much information can I
How much could you
realistically
say?
divulge?
Mm,
I don't know. I think I'm going to keep it quite broad brush and generalized and also specific to me. But I haven't signed like a non-disclosure agreement or anything like that. So I'm not sure if there's any legal basis for me not disclosing anything. But yeah, out of respect for them and out of respect for the people who have paid a lot of money to be in this, I won't divulge
yeah.
specifics. So yeah, I'll just keep this generalized and broad stroke, like I mentioned. So anyway, yeah, so I went into this mentorship program with a very specific idea of what I was going to do. And I had been validating this idea before I got accepted into it. And essentially, what this mentorship does is it walks you through what skills do you have? Using those skills, what market could you serve? And then they specifically, and this is public knowledge, so I feel fine saying this, they specifically advise you that to make a service based business, so rather than producing a product, like a physical product or a digital product, you're providing a service. So you are exchanging your time for money essentially. So they specifically advise to do a service, a done for you service, where you basically you take all of the effort off your clients and do everything for them.
Yeah.
And they specifically advise a high ticket service based business. And high ticket just means high price.
Yeah.
And they advise at least 2K
Mm,
for whatever deliverable or whatever service you're offering. So 2K per client. So anyway, I walk through the exercises. So they have, it's almost like a school. They have lectures, they have a workbook that you go through, and then you have a weekly kind of coaching call, and you have other students. I think there's 4 other students with a coach and me.
right.
And what you do is the first phase is what's called ideation. So you think of the actual business idea,
Yeah.
and there's multiple sub stages of that. The second stage is validation, where you get a customer to pay for the product before you've made the product. And that's validated that the people will actually pay for what you're offering. And then once they've paid for it, then you make all of the resources needed for the product and you coach them. Yeah. So you've done ideation, validation, and then they call it momentum. So that's when you build systems in place to take on clients and manage the workload and everything. So,
Mm,
yeah, I'm currently in the ideation stage. And once you've picked your niche, your coach has to approve the niche before you can try and sell it to people, if that makes sense.
nice. That's nice.
So, anyway, I'd gone through all of the stages to pick my niche. And for those who don't know, your niche is just a specific problem that you're solving for a specific person. And that's basically it. Who's the specific person that you're serving? What's their specific problem? And what's your solution? So it could just be like, it could literally be like women in their 40s who have just had their first child. That's the person. Their problem could be they've gained loads of weight during pregnancy, and maybe you have some unique solution to help them out with that.
Is it niche the better?
Yeah, so generally, the narrower the niche, the better, because what you want to do is in your marketing and in your sales, you want to use language that resonates with the specific customer you're targeting, right? For example, you could be in fitness, but if you're using language like getting shredded,
Mm,
that targets a very different person to using language like getting toned.
yeah,
Both
definitely.
of them are like looking lean, but one is targeted at kind of young males wanting to like you know,
Gym bros.
gym bros, and one is targeted at like moms. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It's almost the exact same thing. It's like losing body fat, but the two different words target completely different people. So that's why you want to be very specific with your niche. So anyway, my niche was doctors in the UK who are at the level of senior registrars to consultants. So those are like the most senior doctors in the UK in the NHS. So that was going to be my person. And the problem was going to be uncertainty about which pension is best for them, given their goals and priorities, when they want to retire, how much they want to retire, how much they're making, how much they can allocate towards their pension contributions, etc. So this is what I'd picked. And I was quite confident with it because your pension is worth, it can be worth up to from at least 500k up to a mil for doctors, for sure, easily, easily, for sure.
Wow.
So it's like the stakes are high. And because the thing is, if you're charging 2k for a service, they advise that the value that you have to provide to the customer has to be at least 5x what you're charging. So if you're charging 2k, the value has to be at least 10k. Does that make sense? So I was like, okay, the value's crazy.
I think as well as the ROI from it, I think the fact that you're a doctor in of itself and you're in this position, and I don't know if you've spoken about your decisions, but like that is going to be a key factor in like you as you're marketing the product. It's not like you're some random dude. You are a doctor. You are doing this, so you have that like experience as well in it, which I think is super important.
Yeah, 100%. And also, the reason why I chose medics as my person to serve was because there's a big emphasis within this program on what's called warm outreach. So, warm outreach is a method of marketing. Marketing is just letting people know about your products, for anyone who doesn't know what that term means. So, outreach is where you go out and speak to people, and warm outreach is where you speak to people who you know. Whereas cold outreach is speaking to people who you don't know, just strangers. So they advise, because I've watched, they call them coaching clinics. So they'll do like weekly clinics and people could come along with their questions, and they have all these workshops and everything. And they've advised that your main method of marketing is warm outreach. They advise like reaching out to 10 people a day and posting one piece of content a day for cold outreach. So anyway, I was thinking, okay, my network is 90% doctors. Like I've got hundreds of contacts who are doctors. Both my parents are doctors as well. But literally I have like hundreds of WhatsApp numbers who are doctors who I could reach out to about this.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like I'm best friends with them. It's just I work with them and we use WhatsApp as our main means of communication. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, I've worked in 5 different hospital specialties. Each specialty has at least 20 to 30 doctors. It's just simple maths. Yeah, go on.
That could be a snowball effect. If there's like little groups of people and you do this for one person, they might be like, yo, this guy Ed, he did this for me, he saved me X. And then it's like a
yeah. So that was my logic. I was like, okay, my network is doctors. I want to go into finance. I'm good at spreadsheets. I'm good at analysis. I've modeled my own pension. I've already been through this problem. Yeah. This seemed like a good niche to me. Yeah, anyway, so I submitted my niche idea to my coach for approval before I moved on to the offer stage. So once you have the idea, then you craft the offer. And the offer is basically the pitch that you give to the customer to try and convince them to buy. Yeah. I sent it to my coach. I sent my workbook to my coach. I was like, what do you think? And I had a call with him yesterday about it. So basically, he said that he understands the idea. He thinks that the idea has value. However, the pain of Oh, this is really hard to describe. So basically, this NHS pension modeling business, it is solving a future pain.
Mm,
It is solving the pain of I chose the wrong pension and therefore my pension is lower in retirement. Does that make sense?
yeah.
So it's not only solving a future pain, but the pain is potential, not actual. So it's potentially I could have gotten more had I done this rather than what I've already got.
Extrapolating that then, if it's potential, could it be the other opposite side? Could the business negatively impact their gains? Could it be potentially that they lose money by going with the business?
If my models are inaccurate, then yes.
Potentially. Okay,
Then,
interesting.
then yes, but I would do everything in my power to make sure they weren't. Yeah, go
Yeah,
on.
that only because I'm thinking about just when I was doing some I had to this is a different PhD, but when I was
Mm,
looking into it, they were speaking about similar to what you're talking about with environmental protection of companies in the future with policies. There's going to be policies potentially in the future.
mm,
So you do something now in hope that if this does come up in the future, you're protected. So it sounds like similar to that. It might not be an issue in the future, but in case it is, you're planning for the worst and you're
mm.
preparing. And it's just a smart thing to do.
Okay, so that's the thing. It's definitely a smart thing to do, but the issue is when you're charging 2K for someone to hand you that money, they
Mm.
have to, realistically, unless they have loads of money, they have to be in pain right now. The problem that they're feeling has to be keeping them up at night right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And basically, with my pension idea, doctors are already financially comfortable. They've already got a pension that generally they think's good. This idea is basically just optimizing their finances to a greater degree. And although the value of optimizing it is high, it's theoretical and it's so far away in the future. Like most doctors who are thinking about this, maybe in their 30s and 40s, the normal pension age for me at least is 68. So it's like 20, 30 years away at least.
Mm.
And so it's so easy to mentally defer and they're not in pain right now. It's a future pain that they're trying to prevent.
Mm.
And he said that he can just foresee it being a real uphill battle to get to convert people to paying customers given that. Does that make sense?
Make complete sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been a really interesting lesson for me.
That is really interesting.
Yeah. So basically, he went through, so you have to put all of your skills down that you could potentially monetize. And he just said, you've already proven you can grow an audience on YouTube. Your deepest area of expertise is fitness. Like, why not do fitness? And for people who are overweight or people who are skinny, the pain is current and now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I said, I think one of my rebuttals was realistically, all the information's already out there. People could just chat GPT the optimum split. And he said, like, all of this business information is basically out there online. Like Alex Hormozy writes all of these business books that people can read and learn what to do.
Mm.
It's not an information problem
No.
why people aren't taking action. It's like an accountability problem.
I know.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a motivation and accountability problem. So that's like basically what this mentorship program is for me. And I've paid like 8K GBP for that. And that's what other people will pay for too with fitness. Yeah, go on.
I think also what you're paying for is I don't think ChatGPT would ever say that. Like everything you just spoke about, I don't think any AI is gonna be super critical. The AI has never run its own business to have that sort of perception of that. This person's come in and he's, yo, this is what I'm seeing. So that's gonna save you. If you didn't know that, you might just go all in on this, waste 2 years of your life doing this, waste all your money instead of just no next thing, and you just save
Mm,
time, which is money
mm,
anyway.
yeah. So I think this was all yesterday. So I'm still just
Comprehending it.
stewing on it.
Yeah.
because I've just been all systems go on finance. I've just been convinced like this is a massive opportunity. And so now he's pulled the rug from underneath me and said, actually, it's probably going to be more difficult than you think. So
Mm.
yeah, I'm thinking probably just pivoting to fitness, back to fitness, which is what I was originally doing
You
with
had the
ELC.
book, you had the fitness
Yeah.
plan.
So I think like high ticket fitness coaching slash consulting, whatever you want to call
Will
it.
that get you out of bed in the morning, do you think?
I think like one of my gripes with fitness is I can't lie, it just sounds less cool than finance. I think the reason why is because finance is quite complex
Bit techie.
and cerebral, and it just sounds more intelligent than fitness because there's this whole like stereotype of the meathead or the gym rat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're just not intelligent. Does that make sense? And so fitness has those connotations. And so that was one reason why I was more wanting to go into finance. And then I also said to him, okay, fine, but fitness is saturated. It's an unfair marketplace. My competitors take anabolic steroids. I have to be shredded all year round. Like it's quite physically draining. And he just said that your edge, like your USP, is that you're natural. And it could just be like you're focusing more on like the health and wellness rather than just being like purely aesthetics. So he said all of those factors could just be your USP almost.
Mm.
So I thought it was interesting. Oh, my apologies.
No, don't worry.
Yeah, so basically he was saying all of those reasons could be like your unique angle. And another issue I was facing with finance when I was speaking to my peers about this. So basically, oh, I've not told you about this, Felix, but one of my
Mm.
registrars, one of the senior doctors in
Mm.
my trust, has a YouTube channel
Ooh.
about renal medicine, about kidney disease, and he's got 90K subscribers.
Ooh.
Yeah, and he's setting up a school community. So anyway, my friend told him about my YouTube channel. I haven't opened up to many people about my YouTube channel because the whole tall poppy syndrome and everything. But I told this one friend because he and I were quite close. And then my friend told him, and I was looking at him like, what the fuck are you doing?
Mm.
And then this registrar was like, oh, like, I've got a YouTube channel as well. But anyway, him and I were discussing business. I was telling him about this idea and everything and asking for his opinion. And he just said, yeah, I think it's got legs, but why would I go to you over a financial advisor, realistically? And that's what my girlfriend said. That's what my mum said. Everyone keeps coming back to this idea of qualifications and credibility. And
Interesting.
I know that because I've heard Ali say that all you need to be is like one step ahead of your target market. As long as you can help them get to where you are, that's all the credibility you need. But I still think, especially with medicine, especially with doctors, they're quite highly skeptical people
I was
anyway.
thinking this.
Yeah. They're because medicine is all about qualifications. You're training for over 10 years. So I think that's very much within the medicine culture. You have to have a qualification or a degree, or you need some kind of certificate to show that you can do the thing. Whereas I think more in the entrepreneurial circles, it's as long as you've got evidence that you've achieved the result I'm trying to achieve, I'm happy to pay for your services.
Yeah,
That's how I
exactly.
see it. Do you know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
That's what I said.
Yeah. But I think that's a generational thing and a cultural thing as well. So I kept coming up against that barrier in finance. So yeah, I do think the whole finance pension thing was probably an uphill battle. Whereas I think medicine lends itself quite credibly to health and fitness. So that could be a wind against my back.
So I just got a message on this Riverside.
Oh yeah.
It says audio only. Video won't be recorded, but you can turn on cameras. But I'm assuming because the cameras are turned on, it's being recorded.
I mean, if it is audio only, then it's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
it's
It is what it is.
it just seems just it's just a weird message, but we'll see. But I just
Yeah,
thought I'd let you know.
that's if that's the case, it just is what it is. It's early days, isn't it? It's the
Um,
first podcast.
yeah. Oh, okay. So I also will need time to comprehend that information because it was
Mm,
fresh. But it's, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not the expert, so definitely these guys are the ones to listen to. But it's weird when you have such a niche problem and then you have a potential solution But the fact that there's like a timeline to, obviously it's going to affect how people are going to buy into it. I don't know. Is there any way that the pain from the future can be like articulated forward so that they can, because if they are these smart doctors and these people that care about the
Mm,
future, can the, it sounds weird, but could the pain be brought forward?
yeah,
Or is this
I
like
I
also you're
think
not, we're going,
no, it's really tricky. It's really tricky. I think in your marketing, you could focus on the two versions of reality. The one where you just went along with the status quo. You had to retire at 68. If you retired early, your pension was reduced by 60% if you retire 10 years early. And then the reality where you invested 2K, you got a model of your pension in each scenario. You went for the private pension that allowed you to retire when you wanted. I
and
think that could be like a marketing angle, but it's yeah. Yeah, go
one
on.
other thing I was going to say with when I'm analyzing the points with what Dima said and your mom and your rest, the
My
senior
colleague,
guy
yeah.
who said, why wouldn't I hire a finance person? Then I would be like, okay, my fair enough, my expertise isn't finance, but I can work with someone in finance who's going to be like a partner, like a co-person.
Mm.
So this is hypothetical, but if I had a co-founder that was a finance expert, I'm the medical side, I know this pension side, I found the problem, and I'm working with X, who is a finance bro, that this will alleviate any questions on you. And all it is a simple thing of just hiring a financial expert who knows all the laws. So I think that side of it is like, it doesn't have to just be you on your own.
I think what I was planning on doing to break this belief in my prospects was basically to tell them how you calculate your pension is quite literally just maths. It's an equation, and it's a complex equation, but it's an equation nonetheless.
Mm.
And if I can just show you, this is the equation to calculate it. This is my spreadsheet that contains all of the parameters and variables that make up that equation, then just giving them proof that
Mm.
I've done my due diligence and it is just math. It's not a matter of opinion. Like, this is a mathematical model that reflects this equation. So that was going to be my approach. But to be honest, bro, I think I'm not usually one to just acquiesce to someone in a position of authority. But I do think, like, this guy, he is a business coach for a reason.
Mm.
He said in his opening pitch, he's closed a 90K deal. So he's a five-figure closer. He
Mm.
has experience in this world. I am paying for his expertise. I think I would just be a fool to not go
Yeah.
with it. And also, I think I probably could get some sales. I think I probably could. Like, I think some people are conscientious enough to see the value in this service, but I just think it's an uphill battle. And yeah, I don't want an uphill battle.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, the whole idea of this mentorship program is to build a lifestyle business that allows you to live your ideal lifestyle.
Yeah.
You don't want to be like constantly thinking about lead generation in your business. Yeah, you don't want that.
Is it going to be parked or is it going to be a swift
So
transition to the new
I
thing?
I think I'm going to park it for now, and I'm just going to see what I can come up with in the fitness space. I was thinking, like, it doesn't have to necessarily just be bodybuilding related. It could be like health optimization for CEOs so that they can have the highest productivity in their businesses or something. What they do is they tell you when you're thinking about your niche to think expansively. So you really stretch your brain and think of all of the possible permutations of this niche that you can think of. To get you to do that, they say to list at least like 20 different niche ideas for a certain industry. So that's what I was doing this morning. They've got a custom GPT that basically interviews you, asks you a bunch of
Mm.
questions that would allow you to come up with all of these different niche ideas. And they actually encourage you to speak to the GPT. They think like speaking is a lot better than writing because it's just more frictionless.
Yeah, definitely. You love
Yeah,
doing that as well.
I love doing it. Yeah. So like literally, what I did this morning was I just woke up early and I went on a walk for an hour and a half, and the whole time I was just speaking with this GPT about potential niche ideas in fitness.
Mm,
Does that make sense? So yeah, I'm just exploring. And also the business that you start doesn't need to be the rest of your career. Like I think it's like an employee mindset to think what I'm doing now is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life.
mm.
Do you know what I mean? Like I think you can adapt with the market. And to be honest, the market's always changing,
Yeah, even the
right?
big players change.
The market's always changing. So I think you almost have to adapt in business. So, like, I think just because I start in this doesn't mean I have to continue this. And also, as well, they were saying how they encourage you to do what's called a B2B business. So, a business to
Business.
business.
Yeah.
So, where you are a business selling to other businesses, as opposed to a business selling to other customers, which they call a B2C.
So Hormozy says, doesn't he?
Yeah. So, they encourage B2B. And the reason why they encourage B2B is because number one, businesses have more money. And
Mm.
number two, businesses can write off expenses as tax deductibles. So they actually want to spend money because it's just going to be taxed anyway. Does that make sense? So
Yeah, makes
they're
sense. Yeah.
incentivized to just spend money. And if it's going to improve their business even 1%, why not? It's better than just it being wasted on tax. So
Correct.
they encourage like a B2B service done for you business, at least 2K. The thing is that 99% of the time, you were a member of your niche at one point. Like most businesses are set up by people who have solved the problems that they're now monetizing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I've started a YouTube channel, but it's not really like I suppose it is a business, but I'm not selling a product or a service to someone. So I don't have any kind of experience in that domain. So I'm thinking like I'll start with a B2C business, gain business experience, and then I can move to a B2B model. So just because I start here doesn't mean I need to continue with this business forever.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I won't because I think to your question, it doesn't drag me out of bed in the morning, to be honest. Not
Mm.
really. Not really. But I'll still do it. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. I don't necessarily. Yeah, I think the only reason I was asking, and you're right, you can pivot away and whatever. Just you just need something to get you going, and then you can. If you have something that generates capital, and then once you have capital, you have way bigger options, more
Mm,
options. But I
mhm,
think the thing about it is, you're right. It's not like the most sexy thing, and it's not.
mm,
Oh, I can. But then again, like at the end of the day, we want to be entrepreneurs and have businesses. If it's an unsuccessful, sexy finance business or a unsexy, successful gym bro business, I'm gonna
mm.
choose the gym bro one.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it.
Like that
Like,
is it.
and do you know what's funny? Yeah, it's really hard to detach yourself from your ego.
Mm,
It's really hard to do that. And it's funny, a practice that I've been doing is when I'm like signing myself up for something, say I'm like signing myself up for electricity, I'll use Mr. instead of Doctor because I don't want to be married to, how do I describe this? I think people get addicted to the status that comes with being a doctor.
I reckon you're like surely in a small pool of people that do that. I
Does-
reckon with the detachment thing.
Like, I want to be reliant on that. I don't,
Mm,
do you know what I mean? I think, especially because I know I'm leaving. So yeah, I think it's all just ego, all of this shit. It's all just like trying to impress other people. And I think if you live your life with that purpose, I think it takes you down a suboptimal direction. Do you know, does that make sense?
yeah, it's weird
Or it
because
can
like
do at least anyway. Yeah, go on.
I think certain situations where being a doctor, obviously, well, some at some point I'm gonna be a doctor as well. But obviously, it's gonna be
Mm,
different. And I'm trying to think now, like that social status or ego thing. I don't know how to word it, but I think it's just interesting what you're talking about with detaching from it and then like thinking I'm pretty sure as soon as I get the status, I will be flaunting it. To be completely frank, I don't know
No,
when
yeah,
I don't know
that's
when
fine.
I would be downgrading myself in a sense, unless it's for whatever reason. And yeah, it is just a social thing. It is literally for other people. Like it isn't really for myself. If I was
Mm.
the only one here, and it's weird when you're in like a room full of doctors, maybe being a doctor isn't that important. But once you're the only one, then it's you have a bit of, I don't know, something about it.
I heard Naval Ravikant say, he said that you should play wealth games, not status games.
Eh,
And he said the reason is because status is a zero sum game, right? For me to be, your status is just your position relative to other people, right?
yeah,
So if I
correct.
increase in status, someone else has to decrease. Okay.
Mm,
So if
mm,
I'm +1, you're -1, and it cancels out to zero, right? And it results in behaviors that are detrimental to entrepreneurship. For example, I recently crashed my car, and it came at the worst time because the day that I got accepted into the LBA was the day I crashed my car. And so it's like I've just committed to this 8K expense. I've lost a 3K asset, and I also have to buy a new asset that's at least like multiple thousands, and my insurance is going to go up. And as well as that, I'm like planning on moving out soon. So currently I'm living at home with my parents strategically to save money so that I have the longest runway possible when my contract ends in medicine.
mm,
So anyway, I was like, but I need to buy a car. Like I need a car to drive to work, to drive to my girlfriend for whatever. Had a conversation with ChatGPT, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna optimize for low cost and high reliability. I just want something that works, won't break down. I also, before I crashed my car, 2 months before, I had a breakdown, like a major breakdown on the motorway. My clutch disintegrated. That's what the mechanic used. He was like, it was just in 1,000 pieces. So I was like,
mm,
okay, I'd been scarred by cars. So I was like, I just want a car that
yeah.
won't break down, that's like cheap to operate, cheap to maintain. And the car that it suggested was a 10-year-old Toyota Yaris. And I was like, oh,
Very reliable. Japanese most.
yeah, it's like, it's Japanese, it's reliable, it's cheap. Every garage can fix it. They've got parts everywhere.
Yeah.
And I can't lie, I bought it because I was like, cerebrally, this is the optimum move. But it hurt my ego, bro. It was like a,
Mm,
it was like a downgrade. Does that make sense?
know exactly what you mean as
And
well.
yeah, it was my girl's birthday recently, and I drove us to I drove us to Manchester, and I drove her friend to Manchester. And then when we were there, I drove all of her friends to the restaurant,
Mm.
and I was just like, oh, I was, and I was just like, oh, this hurts.
Uh,
This just hurts. But
at least your girl's not a gold digger.
I was just like, okay, this is ego. This is ego. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's the same. It's like the same reason people get a house they can't afford, or they buy clothes they can't afford just to impress other people.
Mm,
And it's all just, it's for other people and it's not for you. It is for you to an extent. It feels good. It feels nice. But I think like when you're on this journey, you have to prioritize the business.
yeah.
I like, yeah, go on.
There's a I don't I'm gonna botch it, but there's a bar in like by DBE, and it was
Mm,
something basically there's something to do with like the plan is never to just look rich and spend your money early. The plan is just to be rich, and
mm,
then you can buy the nice stuff because you're like actually rich, and this is what I want. I'm gonna buy it. Not in the opposite order. Look rich, and then you're actually broke. That is literally just for other people. Then it's
mm.
just purely just botty behavior.
But don't get me wrong, I'm definitely planning on buying a nice car. Like I want to live in that nice house. That's why I'm doing all of this.
Yeah.
And I honestly think it will be so much better when you can just like comfortably afford it, and it's not a big deal. Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
yeah. Because yeah, when you're trying to stretch to pay certain bills, it's going to affect other lifestyle decisions. Like maybe you want to go on a holiday or buy your girl like a nice thing, but you're stretching to make a car payment, and you're like, this is just
And bro, I think that's how people stay stuck in the rat race. So if you want to start a business, it takes a lot of time.
Mm,
It takes a lot of time. And if you're spending all of your time working to pay for your lifestyle,
mm.
it just keeps you trapped in your job.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And also, if you have no savings, then you can't invest in opportunities when they come. I saved up from living at home, I saved up 15K,
Mm,
and this LBA came along and I spent 8 of it like straight away.
yeah.
Yeah.
Having the money to execute on opportunities.
And it's like, what if the next Bitcoin comes along?
Mm,
Do you know what I mean? Or like,
for real, for
what if
real.
you have like a physical product that you need to buy in bulk? Or do you know what if you need to hire an editor for your YouTube channel? Like, all of
Yeah,
these things require investment and startup capital.
yeah.
And like, even if you plan to have to be venture funded, they're still going to want to see evidence that you've invested your own capital into this. So I just think
Mm,
it's antithetical to entrepreneurship.
yeah,
It-
and on that as well, a big misconception with it, right, is people
mm,
will think that, okay, so I'm in like a 30K job, and then I'm gonna go, oh, I'm gonna go like 40K and 50K, and they think that actually fixes the problem, earning more. Then you get taxed more, and then you might upgrade your living situation, so you have a bigger mortgage, and you might up the car, so all your expenses increase as well with your
mm,
income. So the rat race like thing doesn't just apply to people at the beginning, it applies all through the life cycle of work. Like even that's why people with decent salaries in the UK, like 50K plus or whatever, still struggle with the lifestyle stuff because all their expenses are nuts.
yeah. So there's actually a phrase for that. It's lifestyle inflation. Have you
Where
heard of
the
that?
more money you earn, your life, like what you want, you spend
Yeah,
more sort of thing.
exactly. Yeah. So the more money you earn, the more money you spend to maintain your lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it's funny, it's really hard to reverse lifestyle inflation. Like it only goes one way. It's a bit like just inflation normally.
Mm,
Yeah. I think like humans enjoy making progress. It's dopamine, isn't it?
yeah.
It's you get pleasure out of the chase towards the reward. Yeah, and so going backwards or having a setback is quite painful to humans. So be very careful about the upgrades that you make to your life because it's difficult to go back. That's what people say about buying business class flights, don't they?
Really.
They're like, be careful about buying business class because once you buy
You
business
won't go
class, you can't go
back.
back. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like I used to be snobby with it. When I got my car, I was like, I'm never taking a bus again. I was like, why was I ever taking buses? And now
Yeah,
you do struggle once you don't have a car and you have to get a bus. You're like, oh,
dude.
this is jarring.
Bro, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah, for real.
100%. Bro, like when I crashed my car and I had to take the train or ride my bike again, I was like, this sucks.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? But if you've gone from not being able to go anywhere to all of a sudden you can take a bus or you can ride a bike, you're like, this is great.
yeah. It's literally the comparison
Mm.
thing, isn't it?
It's so funny. Everything's relative. Like
Mm,
nothing in and of itself. Oh, how do I phrase this? For example, like people are happy when they're doing better than everyone else. But and if they're doing worse than everyone else around them, they feel unhappy. But relatively speaking, like their lifestyle is amazing. Like if
mm,
you compare like the lowest socioeconomic strata in the UK to places in Africa or India, they're living
yeah,
like kings.
yeah.
Like happiness scores in I don't know Africa, they might be higher or comparable just because the
Mm.
people in the lowest economic strata relative to their peers, they feel like they failed.
Bro,
Does that make
and
sense?
yeah, that does make sense. I was speaking with Alexandria about this, and we were talking about because we went to visit some old abbey house, and we were talking on your phone, you can see people and what they're doing. And we were talking about our happiness and links to that, where it's like we were speaking about if there was no phones and you didn't know what was going on in Africa, or you didn't know what these millionaires were doing and stuff, how would like life be and stuff? It's a whole can of worms conversation, but I think the comparison thing with the cars thing and then the bus thing and then linking to say you have a car, say you have all of this, but then my man's got a nicer car or a nicer house. It just makes you feel shit. It just does innately. I don't know if it's like an envy thing or I don't even know what it is, but I think that's like a big problem.
Yeah. So it's tough, man. And I think this whole experience of leaving medicine, like crashing my car, it's like painful, but it's also good for the soul in a way because it detaches my self-worth from those things. I am not this title, like I am not my car. My worth as a person is not attached to those things. So I think it's probably healthy for me in a way. And I think I prefer being around low ego people, to be honest. When
Mm.
someone's high ego, they're all bravado. It's just, oh,
Yeah, and they'll shit on you so easily or so quickly if it's like something not up to their
mm,
standards or whatever.
mhm.
Yeah, I know people like that.
Yeah.
Bro,
So,
I had something to say which I forgot
no,
before, but
I,
or did you have something you want to say?
no, 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 go
It
for it.
was about when you mentioned you're living at home strategically. Bro, do you know
Go
how
for it.
many people in the PhD office live at home and do a PhD and get paid? I thought so. I've got this flat and I'm like 20-minute commute. I'm close by. I'll be in the office, but fundamentally, if your PhD isn't lab based, meaning you're not in an actual physical lab doing experiments, that means it's going to be field and research based. So all I need is a computer. I'm not doing an experiment. I don't need to be at the uni, basically. Everyone has monthly meetings, mandatory, but then people just live at home and come in for that meeting and then go back home and just live at home and just get paid. I thought, obviously, didn't consider that at the time. I'm not really considering it now because, like we just spoke about, I now have my own space. I don't want to then go back. Obviously, you've done it, so I can't imagine how you're feeling with it. But it was just interesting. So I was like, oh, these people are like you can make it work, sort of thing, and you can make
Mm.
better decisions with what you're doing. So that sort of has been interesting for me to consider in terms of saving money and being smart.
I think it's a really tough decision. It's a really tough decision. And I think it's nuanced because, yes, financially, on the surface, like living at home is the optimum thing to do. But there are definite downsides for sure.
Mm,
It's like, how do I explain this? Number one, I think like just freedom and autonomy. Like when you're in your own space, you can do exactly what you want when you
yeah.
want. And it really allows you to operate as a free agent. Like one of the limitations of me living at home is I can't just wake up at 4 a.m. and film YouTube videos, which is what I would
Mhm.
definitely otherwise do
Yeah,
for my marketing because I have my family around. Does that make sense?
yeah, definitely.
So I think that's number one. Number two is as well, if your parents aren't supportive of what you do,
Mm,
that can restrict you. And yeah, I think that also limits you in a way because you have to be a bit more secretive about your activities.
yeah, they don't share the same delusion or whatever about.
Yeah. And yeah, I think there is something profound about just living by yourself and you're in kind of your own echo chamber. You have no one else forcing their worldview on you and making you doubt yourself. And it's easier to lock in mentally. People always say you're the average of the 5 people you spend time with, right? You want to just
Mhm.
surround yourself with people who are like minded, like we discussed at the start.
Yeah,
I think I'm really looking for that now. I think why I'm looking to move out quite soon because financially, I think I've saved up a fair nest egg. And now I'm starting to feel the downsides of those other points that we talked about where I can't wake up early and work.
mhm.
My parents want me to do medicine and everything. So yeah, it's a real trade-off. But I think it's so nuanced as well because you could live out and live cheaply, right? Like you've got a
Mm,
studio. I don't know how much you're paying in rent, but I'm
mm,
sure it's like within a reasonable budget for you.
mm.
So it depends on what your priorities are, what your life goals are. Nothing is black and white. This is what I've come to realize as I've gotten older, right? If you're signed up for the rat race and you want to save up for a house and get a mortgage and that's where all of your income's going to go, then living at home makes sense because all you need to do is save up 20K, throw a deposit on a house, and then that's it. So if that's your plan, then living at home makes sense. If you're building a business and you want autonomy and
That's a good
everything,
point. That's a good point. Yeah.
then living at home is restrictive, then maybe it doesn't make sense. So it's also nuanced. And I think just saying living at home or living by yourself is right is just, I think this is the problem with giving advice over the internet or taking advice from people on the internet is it's so individual and circumstantial.
Yeah. When are you looking to move out then? Also, it's borderline 12. I don't want to keep you.
No, I was thinking the same thing. Probably. So my plan is once I've finished the ideation stage and I've got my idea and I've got my offer and I move into the validation stage where what you do is you book in discovery calls with prospects and you say, this is my offer. What do you think? You refine the offer based on the feedback that they give you, and then you pitch it and sell it. So that's going to require outreaching to people. That's going to require content. So I think once I'm in the validation stage where I need to like make content and reach out to people, that's probably when I'll move out. So basically, probably like within the next 1 to 2 months is what I'm thinking.
Nice, bro.
Yeah,
Keep me updated with it as well.
100%, bro.
Because if you'll be maybe closer to me as well,
Yeah, so we can hopefully do these in person.
that
And
would be fire. That would be fire.
yeah, I'm thinking similar to you, just get a studio. I'm gonna put a lot more thought into it. But yeah, we'll probably leave it there if that's chill.
Bro, that's unbelievably chill. Yeah, that was,
Dude,
I enjoyed that, bro.
that was what a great episode. I don't know if we're gonna I don't know if we're gonna I don't even have an outro or anything.
Honestly, we'll let that develop, I think.
Over time, yeah.
This is literally the first one. Just catching up with what's going on.
Okay, cool. I'll give a little outro. We can speak afterwards and everything.
Sure.
But thank you so much for listening to anyone. If you have enjoyed this, would love to get some feedback, topics that you want us to discuss. Of course, subscribe, share it. And yeah, see you on the next one.
Appreciate that.